In this video, I wanted to focus on what you would do if you were traveling part-time or full-time in your RV if you had a pet emergency. And the reason that I bring this up now is because we had a pet emergency last Monday. This is our dog, Maggie. She is 8 years old. She'll be 9 in June. She's a Boston Terrier. And I'll tell you about what happened with her in a few minutes. But we've been traveling in an RV of some kind since 1992. Prior to that, we were tenting. We didn't have a dog with us until 1995 when we got our first Boston Terrier. And ever since then, we've been traveling with Boston Terriers. If you know anything about Boston Terriers, you know that they are really good travelers. They like to go anywhere their humans like to go. This particular Boston Terrier especially likes to travel, as long as we keep the temperature in the truck reasonable for her, because she doesn't tolerate really hot temperatures. Our previous Boston Terriers were also good travelers. We had our first Boston Terrier in 1995. She traveled with us by RV to 49 of the 50 states and to many of the Canadian provinces. In fact, she's been in Canada on 2 separate trips. And then we added 2 more Boston Terriers, and in 1998 we traveled to Alaska from Oklahoma with 3 Boston Terriers and 2 teenage boys. And what a trip that was. If you know anything about Boston Terriers, you know that they are pretty active dogs, and I'm sure that there are a lot of other breeds that are that way, and Maggie is a very active dog. She does have some health issues. She does have Cushing's disease, and she's being treated for that, and that's part of why she has a weight gain here. And otherwise, she's been pretty healthy. She hasn't had any injuries at all in the time that we've had her. She did have kennel cough, which she got from another dog that she played with, but otherwise she's been fairly healthy. But on Monday night, she was at her pet sitter's, and her pet sitter has been taking care of her since she was a puppy, and prior to that she took care of our last Boston Terrier, which lived to be 12 years old. And we trust her very much. She has several dogs in her care. She fosters some dogs. Her and her mother work together in their home. She's done a lot of care for Boston Terriers, and that's why we liked her, because there is another Boston Terrier that is there regularly. But on Monday, the pet sitter said that she appeared to roll in some stinky stuff, which is quite common also for Boston Terriers. They love to roll in duck poop or cat poop or something like that. And she had a little bit trouble getting up after she did that. The pet sitter didn't think much about it until she went to pick her up, and she yelped and realized that there was some sensitive area in either her rib cage, her neck, or her shoulders. My husband was scheduled to pick her up Monday night after his class anyway. She typically goes about every other week, or when we're traveling and not traveling in our RV, because she doesn't like the hot temperatures in Arizona, so a lot of times we'll leave her with the pet sitter. But he picked her up and he took her to his office before his class, and she slept through most of that. He walked her and she was okay. She loves to go to his office. There's lots of people there she likes to see. And after class, he took her out to the truck and walked her, and he went down to pick her up and put her in the truck, and she yelped again. And then he put her in, and she was settled all the way home. She got home, she yelped when he took her out of the truck, and he brought her inside, and we noticed that she seemed to be very uncomfortable. He got home about 10:30, and so by midnight we decided to take her to the pet emergency hospital. And she had been previously, when she had kennel cough, to this same hospital, and we like this place. It's about 15 miles from us, but it's open 24/7, 365 days of the year. And you get in fairly quickly, don't need an appointment. And so they looked her over and they did x-rays and there was nothing broken. And the vet said it looks like she has a muscle strain in her neck or possibly her shoulder. And so they gave us some medication for her. And she was on a low dosage gabapentin 3 times a day, and then another muscle spasm, I can't remember the name of that one, a half a pill 3 times a day. Her last dosage will run out tomorrow. She's been active, walking around. She's supposed to be on limited activity, so we've been taking her out. She's not supposed to wear her harness or a collar or be walked on a leash. And so in the first couple of days, my husband had to put her on a day bed that she has that's flat on both sides, and he would take her down to the bottom of the steps of our RV, and then she would walk to do her business. She wasn't eating very much. She knows I'm talking about her. She wasn't eating very much when she first came home, and then her appetite came back. Yeah, she doesn't want to be talked about, so she's going to go back there and hide. But she was pretty much sleeping the whole time. Let's see if I can... What are you doing back here? She likes to lay on the tile floor. It's a little bit cooler. It's kind of warm here. But she wasn't eating very good at first, but then she started picking up her appetite. And so she has maybe yelped once or twice in the past couple of days, nothing in the last probably 48 hours. So she seems to be doing better. We're to keep her on limited activity for another week after the medicine is off, and then she can resume normal activity if there's no problems. And so we're hoping that that this is she's gonna recover from this. But the reason that I wanted to do this video is so that you could be aware when you're traveling of what you have around you in case you do have a pet emergency. We knew, because we're in our home-based RV park right now, and we knew where we could take her. But whenever we travel, we always look for if there's an emergency clinic for a dog or what the nearest vet is. That would be my first suggestion, is always check, especially if you've got a dog that's older, always check and see if there's a 24-hour emergency clinic or a vet that's open longer hours, so that if you have an emergency, you can take your dog or cat there. Always travel with their shot records and their pet records. My husband has a folder that he keeps all of her shot records in and any vet visits that she's had, so that we can fill them in on what she needs. This particular clinic had all that information because she had been there a couple of years before. We just updated it. And always take any medications that they have, especially if you're about to run out, you might have your vet give you a prescription so that you could have it filled somewhere else if you're traveling. Maggie is not normally on any medication. She is on some supplements for the Cushing's disease, but nothing else aside from what they gave her for this injury. And be aware of also when you're traveling, any animals that are around you that might have like kennel cough. We didn't know the dog that she was playing with had kennel cough a couple years ago when she got it. We also had another dog when we were traveling that got bit by a beaver, and we didn't even know that we were camped in a Sam's parking lot, and there was a little creek back behind it where they asked us to park for overnight. And one of our Boston Terriers got bit by a beaver, and we would have never let her walk down that area if we'd known there were beavers down there. So be aware of your surroundings, and if there's snakes or coyotes. We have a lot of coyotes out here, and so we have to watch the dogs really carefully. But those are the tips that I would give you if you're traveling. Just make sure you know where the nearest emergency animal clinic is, or a vet. Have their records with you, have the medications with you, keep an eye on your surroundings and where you're at, in case you have any wild animals. And just if you've got an older dog like we do, we really try to limit her activity. And we also switched her when we found out she had cushions. We have a recipe for dog food that we make our own now. Instead of, she was eating a pretty high quality dried dog food, and Boston Terriers don't generally like dry dog food. If you have one, you know that. And so we what we use for her dog food is, if you are a member of Costco, Costco takes the meat off of the white meat off of the roasted chickens that don't sell, and they vacuum pack it and they sell that. And so we buy those at Costco, and it's cut up into small pieces. My husband goes through it when he's fixing it for her, but he doesn't have to cook it, and that's the benefit of using that. But he goes through and makes sure that it's small enough for her and that there's no bones in there. We've never had any problems with that. And then we buy the Great Value vegetables, frozen vegetables at Walmart, and she gets the peas and carrots mixture. She gets a little bit of butternut squash and a little bit of sweet potato, and she eats that pretty well. And we cut her portion down just a little per the vet, what we were giving her to help her lose some weight. She has lost a lot of weight since she started having problems with Cushing's. And so also with the dog food, we add a bouillon cube, and he drains the juice off of that, but it gives it a little additional flavor. And then we have a multivitamin that she gets. We buy this at Petco. PetSmart doesn't seem to sell it. This is really good, and you just put a little bit on their dog food. I'm going to order it on Amazon next time because it's cheaper on Amazon. And we add that to it, and then he seals it into bags, and then we give that to her 3 times a day per the vet. Yeah, this is a normal routine for her. This isn't part of her injury. She will lay all over the place. You gotta watch where you're walking with this one. But if you're interested in more about the food that we make, let me know, and I'll do a video on that. The vegetables are steamed, and they're added to the chicken, and she really likes it. We had to hand feed her a little bit of it at the very beginning here when she hurt herself, because she couldn't put her neck down in the bowl. And something that we've been doing with her since she got older is we've got a raised pet bowl here and for her water and that, and that's one of the things the vet suggested with the injury too. And so I'll keep you updated on her progress if you're interested, but just remember those tips when you're traveling.